your gown up, and I'm going to have you put it underneath your arms, and we'll tie it in the back, okay?
Turn it around?
Yeah, just turn it around, but we're going to do it like this, okay? So it's actually, oops, I'm sorry. It's actually going to go like this, okay? Can I? And you hold it there for me, and I'm going to tie you in the back, okay?
Make it. Shoulder one or the one?
No, we're doing shoulder.
That's a bonus.
Okay, you're going to be on the internet right now with this.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to wash my hands, and I've already introduced myself and told why I'm here. And then just on the general survey, I would be noticing the body habitus, any obvious pain or distress that the patient was in, any obvious splinting of the arm or the shoulder. And then I'm going to go ahead and inspect the areas, and comparing the good side to the bad side, we'll go ahead and just look at the skin color. And this was, you had said that you had problems in your left shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to compare the skin on the left side, looking for any obvious discoloration or edema or any erythema. I'm going to look at the alignment and symmetry of the soft tissue and the bony tissue, and looking for the landmarks. I'm going to look at them kind of anteriorly, and I'm also going to look posteriorly for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and push on your shoulder a little bit, okay? And I only push on your affected shoulder because we're most of the time looking for pain. And I'm going to go ahead and push here, and we said it was which arm? Which side? Left. Good. All right, so I'm going to start at the sternoclavicular joint, and you let me know if you have any tenderness here. And then I'm going to work my way up your collarbone or your clavicle, and you let me know if there's any tenderness. I'm just using one finger kind of pushing. And then I'm just going to move that a little bit here for the video. And then I'm going to get up to the top of the distal end of the clavicle, and that's where your AC joint is located. And I'm going to kind of push around it, looking for any pain or tenderness. And then I'm going to go down, and just over the edge of that AC joint is the glenohumeral line, or glenohumeral joint line. And I'm going to push in there and ask if there's any discomfort. And I would go around the back side of it and do that also. Just looking for any discomfort, generally around that joint line that's right there. And then just over the joint line, there is the insertion of the supraspinatus tendon. And I'm looking for any tenderness there. Okay? And then for the video, I'm going to ask you to turn a little bit here. And I'm also going to palpate your scapula, push on your scapula, and just the borders of the scapula and the scapula itself. Obviously, if this was a scapular injury, we'd be pushing around on it, seeing if there were pain or tenderness. You can turn around again. And now, I'm going to ask you to do what I do. Actually, if you just turn slightly toward me. And we're going to check range of motion here, okay? So would you do what I do? Raise your arms up all the way over as far as you can. This is flexion. And then I'm going to ask you to come down and kind of bypass the table there and do extension. Perfect. And now I'm going to ask you to put your arms at your side and raise your arms up over your head into abduction all the way up next to your ears. Perfect. Let's go down and let's adduct a little bit. There we go. I don't think it's on there. Now we're going to externally rotate. And so do what I do. Put your hands behind your head, your elbows way out. Perfect. And now you're going to take them down and put them behind your back. And I'm going to check back there to make sure that they're both up in exactly the same position. Excellent. So that's good. Your range of motion looks good. I'm going to test strength now. Okay? So we're going to go through and I'm going to push down on your muscles, and you let me know if there's any discomfort, and I'm going to just push on them and see how strong you are, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and have you put your arms out like this, and this is called flexion. You're going to push up, and I'm going to push down. Push up as hard as you can. Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to have you do some extension. Probably the easiest way to do it is for you to push back like you were going to elbow me, okay? So push back, and I'm going to resist, and I'm going to come on the other side and do the same thing. Perfect. And now I'm going to have you put your arms straight out to the side, and with your thumbs up, this is abduction, and don't let me push you down. Good. I'm going to take your hands forward a little bit. We're going to take the thumbs down. I'm going to put you just slightly under 90 degrees. This is a diagonal raise, and go ahead and push up against my hands as hard as you can. Perfect. Now you're going to take your elbows, and you're going to keep them right next to your sides, and the motion is going to be this, rotating outward or external rotation, okay? I'm going to do this one at a time, and I'm going to keep you kind of tucked in there. So would you rotate out against my hand? Perfect. And on this side? Perfect. We could also do it like this if you keep your hands nice and snug and do it bilaterally. We just got to watch that you don't flap your arms out into abduction. Now we're going to do internal rotation. okay? And so you're gonna bring your hand in towards your belly. Perfect. And in towards your belly. We could do that with the same bilaterally and keep the arms snug. I cross my arms and you push in toward me into internal rotation. You can do it, but it's a lot of adduction too. So you want to make sure that you're truly getting internal and external rotation. Okay? And now we're going to do some special tests. We're going to hold off on the winging of the scapula. We'll do that at the very end since you got to get off the table. But the first test we're going to do is called the Hawkins test. Okay? We are going to, it's your affected shoulder, which was the left. And so what I expect in this is pain. I'm not going to tell you, the patient, that, but I'm going to bring your arm upward like this and just let me do all the work, okay? Bring it up to about 90 degrees or a little bit above, and I'm going to internally rotate it. And I'm going to actually aim this elbow kind of up toward the side of your head, on the right side of your head. And I'm looking for discomfort. I'm watching your face, looking for any discomfort. I might move it a little bit more horizontally. But we want to get that pinched, and a positive is pain. Okay. The next one is the near test, and on the near test, we're going to have the hand internally rotated, the arm internally rotated, and we're going to just again relax, and I'm going to bring your arm up over your head like you were raising your hand in school. I'm going to stabilize your scapula, and I'm going to watch your face for discomfort, and you let me know if that causes you any pain. Okay, and that is also positive for impingement. And then as we go along, we're going to do the drop arm test. Let's say the patient had a supraspinatus tear, a complete tear. I'm going to ask you to just raise your arm out to the side. I'm going to help you, okay? And now I'm going to ask you to hold it out there and don't let it drop down, okay? So lower it slowly to your side, and I'm going to spot. That was a negative drop arm. Now we're going to see a positive output, okay? So I let go of the patient's arm and they drop down to the side. Or if the patient has a little bit of strength, sometimes they can hold it up for a second, but I tap it and it drops down. And I try to catch her, okay? That's a positive drop arm test for a complete or near complete supraspinatus. The apprehension test is for a shoulder that had been previously dislocated and is now in place. And so you don't tell the patient that, but we say, I'm just going to move your arm a little bit here and just relax and let me do the work. And I'm going to put my hand on the posterior area on the scapula. I'm going to abduct them out to the side, and I'm going to externally rotate the patient. And again, I'm watching their face. I'm seeing if their eyes bug out or they have apprehension. You can do the same thing like this, standing in front of the patient and externally rotating. If it was a previous dislocation, they have the apprehension test. If, indeed, then you do the same thing, some people will actually keep the humeral head back and do the same thing and keep it in place. There's a little less apprehension. But you don't have to do that for your test. It's just the positive apprehension test. We could do this sitting up, or you could also have the patient lie down and do it. And then the last test is the test for winging scapula. Push it up over here. And on this one, I want you to kind of do like a push-up against the blackboard here. And good, push away. And now round your back and push away. And as she bears weight on her, and now come flat, as she bears weight on those arms, like she was pushing up, if there was winging of the scapula, either an inflammation, the serratus anterior was affected, or there was a problem with the long thoracic nerve, we'd see that scapula wing out as she was bearing some weight on it. Okay? I think that's the end of it. Thank you very much.